Hi guys, I'm Jen Johns, and today on Buttercream Basics, we are going to master black buttercream. So I'm going to show you two ways to make black buttercream. The first one I'm going to be working on is going to change the flavor. I'm working with 2 cups of my vanilla buttercream, and all that's in my buttercream is butter, imagine that, icing sugar, milk, and pure vanilla extract. We're going to add in a little bit of cocoa powder, which is going to change the flavor. My second way of making the black buttercream is going to be without the cocoa. So if you are a chocolate hater or you have an order for somebody who doesn't want any chocolate, don't worry, I'm going to show you a second way to do that too. So I put about 1/3 of a cup of the cocoa powder into here, and I'm just going to start stirring it and kind of mixing it in with my spatula, because if you've ever tried to work like a mixer or the hand mixer with really light powder, you know what happens when you turn it on too fast. So you get a big huge puff and a big huge disaster in the kitchen. So I'm just going to slowly mix this in, and then I'm going to continue to mix it with my mixer. I've got enough here. Now, obviously, if you don't have a hand mixer, you can just do your buttercream completely like this with a spatula, but a mixer does make it a little bit easier and a little bit quicker. Now, fingers crossed, hopefully I don't get a big disaster. So I'm gonna mix this up completely. So for this version, adding the cocoa powder in is going to give us a brown base to the start of our black buttercream. Obviously, it does change the flavor like I was mentioning, and this is also how you just make chocolate buttercream. So there you go, another bonus recipe within here. So what we're going to be working with is black gel paste. This is Americolor's Super Black, and black gel paste and all gel paste colors are basically just concentrated coloring. They're not like a liquid food coloring, they're much stronger, so you don't have to add in as much as you might with a black liquid coloring. As far as I know, we can't get black coloring where I live here in Canada, so I've only ever used the gel paste for black, and it works all of the time perfectly for me. So what we're going to do is just open up the little bottle here and squeeze in some of that gel paste. And then we're going to mix that in again with our beaters. So I've come to a color that's mostly a dark gray. It's close to black, but not quite as much as I want it to be, not as dark. So what I'm going to do is add in another squeeze of my gel. Now, people sometimes complain about the taste of buttercream changing to be more bitter, and that's often from using too much piping gel and too much of the gel paste. And what you can find is when you add in the chocolate first, it's going to counteract that bitterness, and you're also not going to need as much of the gel paste as you would if you didn't start out with that dark base. So now I'm going to whip this part up and mix in this next black part. So my buttercream has been sitting for about 20 minutes, and it's a beautiful dark black shade. If you leave your icing to sit, the gel paste will eventually become more saturated within your icing, and you're going to get a deeper color the longer you let it sit. Now over here I have a piping bag, and it's fitted with a 1M tip, and that's a star tip, but you could use any tip inside of your piping bag. And then for support, I just have it here as with a jar, and I'm just going to use that to help me fill the bag up. So take a little bit of the buttercream from your spatula and then just wipe it into the jar and just press against that rim of the jar, and that helps to get it into your bag a little bit more easier. You can do it just holding it if you are very talented, but this way is way easier to cheat. So then I'm just going to pull this part up and then just kind of shake that down. And then I'm going to squeeze the icing down to the bottom towards my tip. And while I'm doing that, I'm just locking the icing in here at the top. And I'm doing that by twisting the bag. And I'm going to take a piping bag, basically a tie or an elastic, and I wrap that around there, and that's going to help prevent any of the icing from sneaking out the top of the bag. So we're going to use this to pipe a black top onto our cupcakes. So here I've just got some nice chocolate cupcakes. In the top here, I'm going to squeeze a nice dollop at the top, and that's going to give us a lot of height to our cupcake. So here I'm going to go around and just letting the air kind of build in here, and then pulling that around and coming to the top, stopping my squeeze, and then pulling away like that. So I'll do that again here. So I'm going to build the dollop in the center, and then I'm going to go around, just keep squeezing that all the way around, going around your dollop, stopping at the top, and then releasing your squeeze. So the second way to make our black buttercream is going to maintain the vanilla flavor. So we're not going to change it with cocoa powder this time. But what we're looking for is to change that base color before we add the black, so we don't have to add as much black gel paste. In order to achieve that, we're going to add the chocolate brown flavor or coloring here, and this is another concentrated gel paste. You can see that the gel paste come in different sizes. I don't use a ton of brown coloring, which is why I only have a small version of this one. So I'm going to squeeze in some of that gel paste, and I'm going to give myself a nice little start here. And if you're thinking that because I'm putting gel paste in, I'm still going to be adding the same amount, we're not going to be, because black, it takes so long to get to black. It just stays gray for a really long time. And so when we start out with a darker base like the brown, it's going to result in less of the black that we have to add in, and then hopefully not a flavor change. So I'm going to mix this up. So you can see that the brown color from the gel paste is not as dark as it is with the cocoa powder. Obviously you could continue to add more brown gel paste, but this is dark enough in my opinion to start off with the black. We are going to add a little bit more black at a time, and I want to give a little bit of a chance for that color to basically soak in and then deepen. So after I mix it each time, I'm going to give it probably like 5 minutes in order to saturate. So I've let the buttercream sit for about 5 minutes, and you can see that it's almost like a dark gray, almost like brownish color still. So I'm going to add in more black gel paste and just squeeze that into there and then mix that up, and this should be good for the addition of the black. After we've got this totally mixed in, then I'm going to let it sit for at least 20 minutes. I found that an hour is really good, that you've got the full saturation of the color after that point. So now that the buttercream has deepened and it's a nice dark black here, I'm going to take my spatula just like I did before. I've got my piping tip down in the bottom there, and again, you can use any piping tip. So I'm just getting enough in here. Now, if you don't have those piping bag elastics, you can basically just lock the bag with your hand. So in order to do that, what we do is we just kind of grasp that bag like that, and then I'm just going to give it a twist. And while I'm doing that, I've got my thumb and my forefinger here. I'm just squeezing that tight, so no icing is going to sneak out the top, and you can do that if you don't have that elastic. So since we did a classic top to the last cupcakes we used with black, I'm going to do a rosette this time. So for a rosette, we just start in the middle, and I just keep steady pressure, and I just go around, keeping it flat this time instead of raising it up last time. And this one is classically kind of known as like almost like a rose. That's why we're calling it a rosette. So I'll do that again on this one. So just squeezing it in the center and then going around the outside, working your way all the way to the outer edge of that cupcake. There we go. So there you go, everybody, how to make black buttercream. Actually, it's pretty easy. Now, one little secret I want to let you in on is it's not so nice the next day, if you know what I mean. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you haven't already done so, head over to my main channel, Cupcakes and Cardio, and make sure you're subscribed there as well. Links in the description box. See you next time.